Hey guys, I wanted to do a little video on leash reactivity or overreactivity. We see more of this in our business than any other behavior issues, and it's typically something that people come in to get help when it's become so detrimental that they can't walk their dogs where they want to or when they want to. These are the people who cross the street when they see someone else coming. It becomes a real hindrance to the way they want to live with their dogs. So I'm not going to talk so much today about how to build your dog's behaviors so that you don't have this issue. If you want more on that, I'll put a link in the description below to a different video. I'm also not going to talk about dogs that are truly aggressive. That is something that is dealt with very differently. I can link a video for that one down below as well. But what we're really focused on here are dogs that have leash reactivity. Ruger, please don't eat things off the counter. That have leash reactivity as a result of under socialization or inadequate socialization when they were younger, or may have had a traumatic event. Maybe they got attacked by a dog when you were on a walk. Those types of cases are unfortunately not uncommon. And the way we deal with them is with 3 simple steps. But before we get into the steps, the groundwork has to be in place. And that is going to come from you, not your dog. The thing that has to be in place and ready to go before you can expect any improvements or changes is the way your dog views you when you guys are going out for walks or doing anything else, quite frankly. So what I'm referring to is the leadership role that you have to take. And this sounds like the kind of stuff you used to hear a lot about 20 years ago. It's still the same case. So think of it this way. When you and your dog go for a walk, you are partners. So off you go. One of you has to decide where you're going to go, what direction you're going to turn, how fast you're going to go, when you're going to stop, and when you're going to speed up, whatever. So a lot of times you'll see people out walking their dogs, and the dog is clearly the one making all those decisions. So he sniffs where he wants to, he stops where he wants to, he pulls faster towards things he wants to, and his owner's kind of at the back of the 6-foot lead, or worse yet, a flexi lead, the bane of my existence. And the owner is simply along for the ride. Those dogs sometimes are fine with that, and they never react to anything. They're super chill. I've never owned a dog like that. I know they're out there, but the ones that come to us obviously aren't like that. So more often we get dogs that are fine doing all those things they want to do, and then they encounter a trigger, whether that's another dog, a person, something that they react to or overreact to. When that happens, the situation or the scenario is perfectly staged for them to have a meltdown, to pitch a fit, have a temper tantrum, lunge, bark, act as though they want to kill whatever it is, and there's the problem. And that's when people say, okay, I have to walk a different route in my neighborhood, or I have to only walk after 10 p.m. when no one else is out. This is not going to address the problem. So let's figure out what the heck's going on here. These dogs are typically in one of 2 camps. Either they have developed the habit from a very young age of anticipating that they're going to have an encounter, and typically it's going to be a friendly encounter. It's not like they're looking for a fight, but they have that expectation, and so every time they see another dog, they expect that they are going to be able to go forward and interact with it. So they pull toward it. They don't even think twice. This just see the dog, pull to it. All with good intent. But as soon as you hold them back for whatever reason, not every dog is the right dog to interact with, or they're pulling too hard and your shoulder's coming out of its socket. When that happens, you now have tension and conflict. And so the dog will, give me my slipper. the dog will expect to move forward. You try to hold him back, and now all of a sudden, the reactivity kicks in. He's frustrated. He's expected one thing and he got a different outcome, and he's probably a little pissed off. And so these are the dogs that over time will become reactive, because even before you put any pressure on the leash, they are expecting it. Anticipation is a great thing, but it can also really mess things up. So when that happens, what you'll see is the reactivity will increase over time, and it'll become more and more intense, because they will expect it sooner and sooner. They'll see the dog initially at 10 feet and have a fit. Now they're going to see a dog from 20 feet. Eventually they're going to see a dog on the other side of the walk, and they're still going to pitch a fit. So that's problem number one. The habit, the dogs are very pattern trained. So the habit of meeting other dogs is now going to backfire. The other scenario is dogs that have potentially had a bad experience, and so they are fear aggressive or fear reactive, meaning they are in fight or flight mode, and they are expecting that they have to defend themselves. So this is where that whole leadership role thing kicks in. If the dog trusts that you have things under control and that he is not going to have to fight for himself or have a negative interaction, then he can relax. And what we're looking for is not trying to make him social. We're trying to get him to a point of neutral. We want him to be able to see the trigger, the thing that he used to be afraid of, and just, keep going. It's a neutral thing. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just kind of a nothing. So what tends to happen instead, though, is either we baby them through the experience. So we tell them, it's okay, don't worry about it. The words are one thing. The tone and the energy behind the words are far more relevant to the dog. And so what he's getting from that message is, I'm doing the right thing. I need to keep doing this. I need to maybe do this with a little more intent, etc. And the problem grows. So we have the dogs for one of those two reasons, they are leash reactive. Okay, what are we going to do? First thing we're going to do, I already mentioned, you are going to have a paradigm shift in your role as the leader in your partnership. You are now the one who decides where you're going to go, what speed you're going to go, and essentially how your dog is going to behave. When you have that outlook, you have now changed your own expectations, and you are now going to not need to anticipate a negative behavior. We'll come back to that in a second. Once that's in place, the first thing you're going to want to do, step one, is give your dog distance. Distance from the trigger is his safety zone. So whether it's, like I said, 10 feet away, 50 feet away, whatever he needs to begin with, give him that distance and let him experience the presence of the other dog, even though it's far away, without having to worry that it's going to turn into something bad. So when you do that, what you should see over time, and when it's combined with these other two things I'm going to describe, is that the distance will shrink and you won't have to be as far away. Once you're getting closer, I would never expect a dog to put up with another dog any closer than 6 feet. Ideally more like 10 feet, but if you're in a crowded place, that might not be feasible. But 6 feet at the most is how dogs should be expected to be in the presence of others without a reaction. Okay, so we get that going. The next step is to keep your dog close to you. Close proximity, again, gives him two things. It gives him a source of comfort. It kind of helps him to anchor himself a little bit. And it allows him to give into your leadership. So assuming you've really embraced that leadership role, you'll find sometimes dogs will lean on you, or they'll kind of press against you a little bit. Sometimes dogs will go behind you when they see a trigger. That's fine. Let him do it. He is gaining from that the understanding that you are confident in this situation, you have it under control, and he doesn't have to go into fight or flight mode. Okay, so we've got distance, we've got the dog close to you, distance from the trigger, the dog close to you physically. The last thing is often the hardest thing. Okay, the third thing to do is probably the most difficult, and that is to have a loose leash. What I mean by that is the clip on the leash should hang downward. If the clip is going up and the leash is tight, the dog is going to get just as tense as the leash itself. So we want zero tension on the leash. This is going to do two things. Number one, it helps the dog to get the message from you via the leash that he can relax. You have things under control. You don't see a reason to get concerned and worried and tense up. Therefore, he doesn't need to either. The other thing it does is it lets him make the decision for himself. Is he going to pitch a fit and react and lunge and bark and do all these other things? Or is he just going to let it go, kind of stand there, absorb the experience, but not react negatively? That's what we're hoping for. That's what we're looking for. So when we combine those three things, distance from the trigger, closeness to you as a source of comfort and leadership, and a loose leash, now we have the trifecta for success here. What you should see over time is that your dog will see a trigger and actually look to you as in, what are we going to do here? And you get to tell him. You don't have to tell him verbally. He won't understand. But you get to tell him, hey, we're good, dude. Let's just keep going. No need to worry, and off you go. Over time, and the dogs set the time for all this stuff. They're all different. So some dogs will fall into that new habit faster. Others are going to take a little bit longer. Doesn't matter. Don't give up on this. The first time you loosen up on the leash, he may lunge forward and actually surprise the crap out of himself. He's like, oh my God, I was relying on that leash to hold me back and save me. I didn't really want to throw down with this other dog. Well, guess what, buddy? Now you have to take some responsibility for your behaviors and make the right choice. It's very simple for them. It's either I may or I may not. And we want to impart to him the fact that he can no longer do these negative behaviors. Just be neutral. That's the goal. So let me know how this works for you. I would really, really challenge you to go out on your next walk and don't try to avoid situations that used to cause issues. See instead if you can kind of work through them. Avoidance is never going to fix the problem. And let me know how it goes. I'm really curious to hear about your experiences and see if this is helpful. All right, catch you on the next one. Ruger.